Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the first Women in Sales Fireside Chat. I am so lucky to be here with some of my kick-butt powerhouse colleagues, women in sales. My name is Molly Strawn. I'm the Senior Marketing Strategist here at InnovateMR, and I am joined today by Brittany Nelson, Vice President of Sales Operations and Corporate Training, Burke, Managing Director, EMEA, and Hilary Belletti, Senior Director of Global Bid Management. How's everybody doing today?
Hey, great. I'm all right.
Good.
Happy to be here.
I'm so glad that we're all here virtually. I guess this is as close as we can get.
Yeah.
So we're here to talk about sales. And beyond that, we're here to talk about how really everyone in our company that has some sort of touch with a client and drives the business forward is really a salesperson. And I'm sure you've asked yourself right now, why is a marketing person hosting a Women in Sales Fireside Chat? And I think that's because we're trying to really expand the fact that anybody who works outside the business to advance the business as a salesperson is a salesperson. And for me, as a marketing professional, I'm just a salesperson with a budget instead of a quota. So I spend money to make money. I know that a lot of other women out there are women who are trying to get into direct sales, women who are trying to get into the corporate field, women who are in the corporate field and still trying to advance their careers. So I want to say a little bit about each of these amazing women that I have here with me today. Brittany Nelson, we call her the VP of everything, and she has just won Employee of the Year last year for us. Anything you could ever possibly need, you go to Britt for, and she's there at any time of the day. I think we were talking about an email last night, like super late at night after she's put her daughters to bed. So she's always there helping me be better at my job, and she helps me pull in more revenue for the business. Rie is such an amazing asset to have over across the pond. She has a lot of experience in that area and also in Japan. And that's something that we're really working to build out. So she's an amazing asset to the team. And Hilary, she's always right there on email chains, right there on client calls, closing those deals and really having substantial ties to her name as far as revenue. So my first question, I guess I'll ask Rie because I feel like she's the closest to direct sales, and then we can branch off from there. What is being in sales, the typical definition? What does that usually mean?
Quite literally for me, being the touch point with the clients for the company. That's always been, in my head when I speak to clients, when I'm out there, networking, when I'm prospecting, whatever it is that I do within my role. I always tell myself, I'm the face of the company. I'm the touch point. Clients would come to me and, they can get introduced to what we can offer, the service, the product, all of that. So yeah, that would be the definition.
And did you find yourself landing in sales in MR? Kind of like, I feel like everyone in this industry has their kind of quirky story. Did you originally pursue a career in sales?
Not really. No, it was actually pretty accidental. Being in market research, the same thing. Honestly, I wasn't really aiming to, come into this industry. I just happened to land in it, like you just said. I originally was in advertising, actually, back in Japan when I first got a job after I graduated school, and they just decided to give me a sales role, an account manager role, and it just started from there. I actually wasn't really wanting to be in sales when I was in school. I had that sort of, not scary, but almost like an intimidating feel about being in sales as a female, like, we're discussing here. But when I started, I realized more and more that I liked it, and maybe I was lucky that I had really, really good clients as well. I made friends with as well. And so, yeah, I just decided to pursue, and the market research job was sort of given to me as part of the global expansion of the company I used to work for back then, which worked out perfectly for me. And that sent me over to LA and somehow brings me to London, where I am right now. So
that's such an interesting journey. And I love what you said about, being the touch point and being the face of the company. And I think I want to toss it over to Hilary. What do you kind of think about that? Because I know that you're in the front lines in a lot of places with clients. And do you see yourself as kind of the face of the company in a lot of ways, if that is the definition of sales?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from my perspective, clients are coming to us in the sales side, and we have to show the best face possible because we want to work with our clients. We want them to want to work with us too. So before a project is won, we're out there meeting with them, helping them figure out what their research goals are and how we can partner together. We have to really put forth our best foot forward to get them to want to work with us and show them why they should.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've had some really awesome wins lately. What do you think you love most about the sales aspect of your role?
Well, I think from my perspective, it's a journey that is it's a learning journey, but it's also a journey where it's been kind of competitive. And when you kind of get going, it's like, I want to win projects. I want to win clients over. And it's helped also drive that fire inside me to keep wanting to win and, doing everything I can outside of just responding with a bid, is following up, developing those relationships outside of just client relationships. It's friendly talk outside of bidding too. So it helps with that fire.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to pull Britt into this conversation too. To you, I'm curious, what does being in sales mean to you in the scope of your role?
Yeah, I think to touch on what Rie and Hilary already said, it's about recognizing that you're dealing with humans, just like all of us. We're not dealing with some anomaly out there. These are all humans that we talk to. So I think that's the main thing. And then after that, it's about doing what you say you're going to do and following through with that. I've met many salespeople throughout the years that think it's all about telling the client what they want to hear. And I think that couldn't be further from the truth. Lisa and I actually had a chat a couple weeks ago, and we talked about our clients rely on us to be that ride or die partner. And we don't want to leave them up the creek without a paddle. That's something my mom used to say growing up. So I think as salespeople, in whatever aspect of sales that you're in, we have to be honest and transparent and provide our clients with accurate information so they can properly plan for their future.
I think that's fantastic. And you said a lot of wonderful things there. So I want to unpack that a little bit. You said, being the ride or die, making sure that they are fully aware of everything that's going on, that we're being as transparent as possible. What specific strategies do you employ to be successful to do those things, as well as be successful as the VP of everything?
Oh my gosh. I would say, I'm very flattered. Thank you. I would say it's making sure that I know what's going on with every single project or task that I touch, right? It isn't, from a sales perspective, it's not just sell something and then it's out of your hands. Now it's up to the project managers or it's up to the operations side. You have to be very involved at all times. So I'm a very hands-on person. I like to see everything from beginning to end and be involved with that. And I also try to think about, the saying that I grew up knowing all along, how we treat others how you want to be treated. So if I'm going out as a consumer and I'm paying someone to help me, I expect the best service. So I think that's the standard that I hold myself to when I'm working with clients, whether they're external clients or internal clients.
I think that's fantastic. And I do want to pull back the scope a little bit, because this is the Women in Sales Fireside Chat, and we're all awesome at doing that. So I want to kind of open this up to the group here. Most sales teams are comprised of men. And I think that is just across the board, not just in MR, but that's across the board.
Yeah.
why do you think this is? And feel free to just chime in. I want this to be more of a conversation, and we'll see where we go. Why do you think that sales teams primarily are men driven?
I can take that.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Very passionate about this. Well, I think, we don't say salesmen for no reason, right? I think it dates back to even the caveman days where gender roles were clearly defined, right? So the men went out and they were the hunters, and the women were the gatherers and the nurturers. And unfortunately, those gender roles have stuck with our culture for all of modern history, which is, I think, why you will find that sales roles do skew more male. But obviously, a big but here, we have made some progress. And I think, right now, gender roles are not so black and white how they used to be. It's not just men who have that competitive, aggressive drive that you need to be successful. It's now people like us. I know, Ria, you just had the cutest little baby girl. And Hill, you and I are both moms too. And long ago, our title would have just been mom. But here we sit right now as strong, independent, successful women. A lot of us are the breadwinners for our family, and we all have a career in sales. So I think women are dominating prestigious titles that were previously only filled by men. Hell, look at the new Madam Vice President of the United States. Like, still bumps when I say that, right? So history is currently being made, and I'm just thankful that I can be witness to it. But what do you guys think? Why are sales teams most comprised of men?
I see, probably because of the competitiveness, and men just tend to be in more of those competitive fields. But I feel like along my market research career, I've come in contact with so many really strong women. And I feel like it's changing over the years, which is super exciting. Women can do anything that men can do, sometimes better. I feel like a lot of times it's a different perspective. Sometimes clients don't want to be hounded by, that aggressive, salesy type of response. So sometimes the more gentle approach, works out better.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that there's just innately, there's a personability that I think is sometimes easier for women to get across. Mm-hmm. I know in my experience, I've only had a handful of hardcore sales experience, but I remember being at IIX, and one of our sales leaders was saying, tell you what, Molly, if you can get a lead and it converts to revenue, we'll pay for you to go to a spa day. I'm like, why? What makes you think I'd want to go to a spa day? I just want to beat this guy that I'm on the floor with. I just want to give more demos than him. I don't care about going to a spa. And I think that there's a lot in there as far as women having that, Britt, you were saying, the competitive nature, mm-hmm. the wanting to be there, the wanting to further my career, but not only that, further the business, because I'm a very passionate person. I feel like women too embody that passion and that soul drive to just, do better and be better. So couple other questions here. I think that this is a great conversation. I want to go off the rails just a tiny bit. We all mentioned working mom. I think that that's such a topical thing now that we're all in a pandemic and kids are all at home and, kids are walking in on meetings. I personally don't have children, but I want to have children. And I feel comfortable saying that I want to have children while also being really good at my job. I feel like, no man, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this, you guys, but no man ever gets asked, how do you balance your family as well as your job? And it's like, isn't he the other half of the situation here? I mean, that's how I think of relationships. What do you guys think about that?
Ria, you're the newest mom. How are you managing it?
I'm really blessed to have this, like being in this situation, because I'm probably a little bit different from the normal average family household, because my husband, which is obviously the father of the baby, he works for himself. He's always worked from home anyways. I work from home. So we've got that set up where we can pretty much equally split everything. While I'm working, while I need to be on a call, he looks after the baby, vice versa. So for now, it's pretty easy for us to juggle. But again, with this pandemic situation, I think everyone's pretty much had to, do that anyways. And I don't know, I think it's changing. Coming from a rather traditional cultural background, which is Japan, like there's still a lot of that male and female, you need to do this as a man, you need to do this as a woman type of culture. Even in places like that, things are changing. And that question, what you just said, Molly, about men are never being questioned about how do you balance things. I think that is starting to be asked. And men, the fathers, are starting to realize how difficult it is actually to balance, work and housework and looking after the child, like, everything working moms do. As a new mom, I, admire all the moms out there that are working, and I had no idea it's going to be this difficult. So, that's my perspective at the moment.
It does bother me that women get asked that question. I mean, I like answering it, right? So I like giving advice to other working moms, because I think that's important to let them know, like, you are not alone. Like, we're all feeling this right now. And even not in a pandemic, you feel it. I know why people ask that of women, but not of men. It's just the typical stereotypes that we were talking about earlier. It's those gender norms that have been in place. But I actually read a statistic the other day. And in Texas alone, close to 40% of women are the breadwinners for their families. So I do think, and that's coming from, I think it was back in the 60s, it was only like 11%. So it's a slow progress, but it has grown. And like Rie said, I think things are turning, especially men being home right now and seeing, like, whoa, there is a lot that goes on. Like, stay-at-home moms often get overlooked too. They're like, oh, you don't work? And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, that's the hardest job ever. I could never imagine doing that. So I'm glad to see that men are starting to see, like, this is what women are traditionally dealing with, and they're getting more involved, and more men are staying at home and allowing their wives to go out into the workforce and be those breadwinners.
And Hilary, I want to hear from you too about your situation, and if there's any tips that we can all, as women, band together to get through this pandemic.
Yes. My situation is pretty unique too. I've been working from home for years and years anyways. My husband owns a business, so he's pretty much local. He has a schedule that can be more flexible. But my son is in 4th grade, so he's pretty independent. The big thing for me was I have an office space in our garage that was nice and quiet. It's at home, but out of my house, where I can't really be up here very often, because when my husband is at work, I have to be available to answer questions with my son if he's got something going on with school. So I feel like I've been able to adapt to different working situations, and either I'm working at my dining room table or upstairs, in a quiet space, depending on what the meeting is. But I feel like it's learning to adapt with different situations and being able to juggle different things. Like I always joke that, my son is so independent, but I'm still the lunch lady and the snack lady when, he needs something. Otherwise, I'm like, you got to talk to the teacher if you have a question. I try and be there, but I can't always be there. So I feel like it's also helping him grow too. But it's overcoming some challenges. And sometimes the days are so busy where it's a Monday morning and the next thing I know, it's Friday and I'm like, whoa, where did the week go? So, but yeah, it's been fun.
I think this is a great environment to be in and to be a woman in sales right now. And for other young women like myself, looking to join a company that is sales driven, whether it's B2C or B2B, do you have any pieces of advice for them? Rie, I'll throw that to you first, but I want to hear from everyone.
My message would be, don't feel intimidated. Like I said earlier, I was that person. Like I had interest, but I felt like, it just sounds scary, looks scary. I don't know if I can do that job, but it's actually, sales can come in different styles. Everyone has different way of being involved in sales. Like we discussed earlier, there are hunter type, aggressive, sort of pounding type of sales, but there are nurturing type of sales as well. Like everyone, has their strengths and weaknesses. And I think sales can be, just part of that as well. And I think women are naturally good at it, being in it for over 10 years now. That for me, it's more of that nurturing side. If I were to classify myself, in one type of sales type, but I'll just go back to that. Don't feel intimidated. Like, just do it. You'll be good at it. Yeah.
So just start. So I think that's the biggest thing that we should keep in mind, and how to get more women into the field. Just do it. Like, you're awesome. Just do it. Hilary, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say, just, being persistent, and it's not going to be easy, but it's, as long as you put your attention into it, and, always try and, learn from different situations too. So maybe it's, a sale you might not make the first time, but you use what you learned and, take that into your next opportunity, and hopefully it'll help, become a positive, down the road.
Yeah, I think that every failure is not really a failure. It's just a building block to get to the next thing. With entrepreneurship, you want to hit it hard, fail early, fail fast, and build on that and work on it all the time so you can know what to do differently. Britt, do you agree, or what do you think about that? Is there anything you have to add?
No, you're literally saying everything that I was thinking in my head when you asked this question. The first thing that popped into my head was, do it. Like, I want to yell that at young professionals looking to join sales. I think obviously Innovate is unique in a lot of ways. We do have a lot of females that are in sales roles and in leadership. So that has really helped me, and I'm sure a lot of you, grow our career and feel more comfortable and settled. But there are a lot of other companies that you may be walking into, and you are the only female at the table. But I would say either situation you're presented with, obviously in sales, you're going to be told no a lot, right? So if you're walking in, you're the only female, you're gonna be told no over and over. It's okay. If you have all the attributes that it takes, working the long hours, having that tough work ethic, you thrive in a competitive environment, you have that hunger and that drive, I would say keep pushing forward. Don't let those get you down. Just as you said, Molly, celebrate the little wins and the big wins, obviously, but don't get discouraged by those losses. Learn something about it, build upon it, and continue to grow your female empire.
I love that. I just want to stop for a second and absorb all of that, because I think that's so fantastic and really something to aspire to. And I want to switch it as we're wrapping up here to talk about Innovate, because I think that Innovate is a very unique place, not just for women, but for everyone. Mm-hmm. I'm relatively newer to the Innovate team, but I feel like it's been 3 years also at the same time. And I feel like this is, I've been expressing it to Britt. I've been expressing it to Lisa. I've been expressing it to Matt Dusek as well. Just about, I feel like I finally come home. It's finally a place that I can thrive in. And I want to hear from you guys, why you joined Innovate and why this is such a place for you to express your passion. Because I'm feeling so much passion, so much drive from everybody here. So why is Innovate the place for you? Britt, I want to go back to you first.
Obviously several reasons, right? There are multiple reasons that I joined Innovate and I continue to stay here. I've been here for 6 years now. And I can say honestly that I've never heard anyone in the organization, no matter what their title is, say, that's not my job, right? Everybody's willing to step in and help whenever you need help. And also, well, that's just not the way it's done here, right? How many times have you been in a job and you come to the table and you're like, hey, I have an idea that might make things more efficient. And you just hear, well, that's not how we do it here, right? And you kind of get dismissed. That does not happen here. Everybody's ideas are heard. There's not a lot of red tape. We treat each other and our clients like family, sometimes even better than our actual family. We listen. That's most important. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And we use that. We listen. We're proactive in our approach to technology and tools that make our clients' lives easier and gives them that 2020 or should I say 2021, knock on wood, vision that they need when planning their next move.
Absolutely. I think that everything that always comes out of your mouth is amazing to me, Britt. I think that's fantastic. And that I definitely see that same thing at Innovate. Just being new to the team, but also new to the marketing team and seeing how the marketing team has grown. There's been plenty of just off the wall things that I've been like, hey, can we do this? Hey, can we do this? And it was kind of a little difficult to untrain myself to, do it and ask for forgiveness instead of, asking permission to do everything. And I've never had to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
So I think that is, it's a really, really good place to be at. Rie, how about for you?
For me, it's always been about the people. Originally, when I joined the company, I've known Matt, Greg, and George as clients for a very long time since, the USAMP days. And I've always admired the team they've put together, the brand they've built around that. And it's always been something that I was looking up to. And if it looks so fabulous, from a partner point of view, I've always thought, well, it's got to be even more amazing, if you join and become part of that team. And, damn, I was pretty much right. And it's always been, it's an amazing team to be a part of and always growing. Everyone is willing to help each other. Britt, mentioned some examples earlier. And even though I'm across the pond away from, the bigger part of the team, it doesn't really feel like that. Okay, there's time difference, but even then, a lot of the people are willing to help, even though it's outside of their core time. And I think it just all comes down to that team culture of, being a family, really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and just, like Britt, you were saying too, just treat each other the way that you want to be treated. Everybody is a human here. Everybody has a life outside of work, and we encourage that, but a lot of our life is work. And I think that it's important to have that team-centric mentality from top to bottom and bottom up. Hilary, what do you think?
So I had the pleasure of working with so many people here back in USAMP days. It was a very big thing when, Innovate was formed, that I was like, I need to go with these colleagues. I want to continue on. I was so happy at the previous company, and, I wanted to continue to be able to work with them. And, when I joined Innovate, I always had access also to the owners of the company. Like, there was never a situation where I couldn't just, ask a question, pick up a phone. And, at previous companies back in the day, like, the owners didn't know who I was. Like, I had no interaction with them. And, to be able to talk to Matt and Greg and George any day at, any time, it was huge. It was more like a family environment. And, you knew that they were always going to be supportive, and, it's very much a family environment with everybody, everybody included here too, to be able to, if I don't know the answer to something, I know that it's okay to go and ask a question or, get some advice.
So Britt, I want to ask you, what can companies do to attract more women to the field and be that kind of supportive nature?
I would say if you're looking around right now at your company and you see that most of the leadership and the sales team are male only, I would challenge you to do what we've done here at Innovate. And I think it's actually really simple. It starts with the recruiting. Make sure that wherever you're recruiting from, you're getting a balanced mix of applicants. Specifically in our industry, I would also recommend Women in Research, or WIRE. It's a great resource. We at Innovate, we're long-standing sponsors of them. So I would highly recommend, if you aren't involved in that, get involved ASAP. Men are also involved in that. I've seen several men that are mentors through WIRE as well. So it's not just for women only. And then as you are bringing in new talent, or if you have existing talent that are female, go and evaluate your pay scale and make sure that it's gender neutral. You know, we were talking about the gender norms earlier, and statistically still to this day, men are making more than women. So I think if you can break down those gender barriers, you're going to have an easier time with attracting women to your organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's a hotly discussed topic, is the equal pay for equal work. And I think that that's changing too. I think that as women are going into leadership roles, as you said earlier, Britt, Madam Vice President,
yes.
As women are starting to get into these roles, I think that that's also helping that as well. And we'll link WIRE in the description, and you guys should definitely check them out. I think driving it all home, I think typically sales is a me type, like everybody's just at each other's throats. And I've seen those types of environments. It's rough, right? Because you feel like not only are you against yourself to meet your revenue goals, you're also against everybody else, but you're all going towards one number. It doesn't make too much sense. And I definitely feel that here at Innovate, that we don't have that. You know, everybody helps each other out. Everybody knows that everybody's working towards one goal, whether or not that's in marketing, whether or not that's at a VP level, whether or not that's a PM or anybody, an introductory salesperson. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And thank you guys so much for joining me today. I think that this was a really, really great talk about what sales means, the expansion of the definition of sales, how we're all working together in different departments in different parts of the world. I don't think any one of us are in the same time zone. So I think that expanding all of that and still having that cohesiveness is great. And thank you again so much. If you want to connect with any of us, we're all on LinkedIn, and be sure to check out Innovate. You'll be treated like family. Thank you guys all so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.